Do you think it takes a little while for people to start coming in? I always feel like Zoom waiting rooms, they take a minute. I'm going to say hi to all of you as you're like frozen smiles as you're coming on. And then I'm going to say hi again because I'm sure it's going to take a little bit. But thank you for joining us. Those of you who are slowly probably being admitted, those of you who are watching on YouTube. I'm Danielle Walker of the Against All Grain cookbooks, and most recently, why we are here tonight, Healthy in a Hurry. This is my good friend, Michelle Tam of Nom Nom Paleo. We're gonna give everybody a minute to just like make sure that everybody's on before we really fully get started. But we're just so thrilled to be here tonight. Michelle drove in 2 hours of,
it's only 30 miles away.
No.
But it seems like another state.
It really does. Yes. It was the commute that Ryan used to make down to Apple, and Michelle did it for us tonight. So we need to all thank her for doing it.
I did it for the food.
Yeah.
So I was telling her I will drive for that sheet pan chocolate chip macaroni.
That was for you. So I just want to, before we get started, make sure that everybody is on mute if you can, just so that everybody else that's viewing can hear what we're doing. We're going to be cooking. If you're cooking in your kitchens, that's amazing. We'd love to have you be cooking along with us. But it will be a little distracting if we hear your oven chime or kids in the background or chopping noises. So go ahead and put yourself on mute. We will do a few questions at the end. We're actually going to get to see a few of your beautiful faces. If you want to be on camera, no pressure. And we'll pull some questions as well from the YouTube chat. So hang out in there, chat back and forth with each other, introduce yourselves. I would love for everybody to let me know where you're tuning in from right now. I know there's a lot of international viewers. I know you're all over the United States, and that's why this is so fun tonight. Michelle was going to join me in Portland, but instead I was able to stay home, and I'm barefoot, and Michelle was able to drive, like I said, a couple of hours. So Michelle is the author of all of the Nom Nom Paleo cookbooks, along with her husband Henry, and the blog Nom Nom Paleo. And really quick before we get started, I just feel like I have to tell the story of when we first met.
Which I remember.
You do remember?
I do.
Yeah,
on the airplane.
Yeah, on the airplane.
I remember.
Yes. So Michelle and I got started around the same time in the blogging world when paleo and gluten-free and grain-free were all still kind of new. And I was just transitioning from SCD GAPS kind of a style to the paleo diet. And we had chatted, I think, probably online a couple times. This is pre-Instagram, by the way.
No, and I think that there was no way for us to kind of get together. And I think nobody in our real lives kind of ate this way or talked about it or even thought it was something normal.
No.
And so I think we would go to these conferences. To meet each other and find like-minded people. And I remember, I think we were on the plane and we went with our kids because it was in Austin and we were making it kind of like a vacation.
I did not. I think I just had Asher at the time.
That's actually smarter. And I remember, I think I was seated in my seat and you were coming down the aisle and you're like, hey, I'm Danielle Walker. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I know who you are. And it's weird because you see someone, but you don't know them because you've never met them in real life.
Right.
I was like, I know you, but I don't know you.
Yeah.
And then I remember you offered my kids homemade fruit leather. And I was like, I'm such a bad mom. I don't make homemade fruit leather. And so that's
how we met. That's how we met. I did. I was coming to that conference as a newbie to the scene.
Everybody was a newbie.
I was just starting to work on my first cookbook, I think, and you were so sweet. You were like, it's going to be a New York Times bestseller.
And it was.
Oh gosh, well, I just appreciated you believing in me. But I was trying to prove myself, so I packed my whole suitcase full of snacks. I brought my granola and my fruit strips, and I was going to pass them out to people and be like, hi, I hope that I deserve to be here.
That is how you make friends. You just pass out homemade treats.
Homemade treats.
Yes.
Yeah. One of Ryan's favorite books is How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it was probably his idea.
No, it's smart.
Yeah.
Very smart.
All right. So for everybody who might have trickled in slightly late, thank you so much for being here. We are celebrating Healthy in a Hurry. It has officially been out for 1 week.
I feel like I should hold it.
Hold it. It's officially been out for 1 week. As of today, you can find it anywhere books are sold. If you don't have a copy, if you just might be over visiting a friend and sitting in their living room or in their kitchen while they are tuning in. But we're going to make 2 recipes tonight. We're making the chicken cordon bleu. It's on page 178 if you have your copy and you want to follow along. And then we're also making the burnt broccoli, which is on page 278.
And we're also eating.
Yes. So I was going to make the chocolate coffee mac nut cookie pie for Michelle tonight because we both love Hawaii. If you have not checked out Michelle's healthy eating paleo guides to the Hawaiian Islands.
I don't know how healthy they are.
They're healthy.
Just gluten-free.
But they're amazing. I lived by the one in Kona, but I was like, all right, we're going to do the mac nut one because it's, so.
No, I love Danielle is the queen of all cooking, but she's the queen of grain-free desserts for sure, like 100%. Like if I want to make something,
I'll take that.
Yeah, if I want to make something decadent yet healthy or won't make me feel sick, I turn to one of your desserts.
Well, thanks. I'm making the chocolate mud cake that you showed the other day from your new cookbook because I was like,
that's always a shortcut. I'm like, how can I
it's a single serve. I have a banana one in here that's kind of similar,
really good.
but yours gets the best puff like that. I mean, it looks amazing.
Yeah. All right, the microwave. It's not me.
So we're gonna get started. Again, hang out in the YouTube chat area, put your questions directly in there. Similarly for Zoom, we'll be polling out. We've got a few team members that are tuning in that are going to help us make sure that we get to cover as many as possible. But that's partially why I did the cookie skillet in advance because I wanted to try to get to more of your questions. I made the batter yesterday. You can watch the video on Instagram and Facebook if you want to just see how it's done. And I'm just going to bake it. I just put it in the fridge uncooked. I'm going to bake it while we make all of this so that it's warm and gooey and ready for
Michelle. The smell will just drive us crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get started with the burnt broccoli.
Show us how you are shortcutting this.
Okay, so first of all, it is not as cost effective, but Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Safeway, Ralph's, wherever you want to shop, they always have these bags. I just think they're so easy. It's cauliflower and broccoli make a lot of mess when you're cutting them up.
And if this is the difference between you eating broccoli and not eating broccoli, then you should
it's right there. And I wanted to be able to save time tonight, so I was like, you're just gonna buy these. It's one less thing to try to cut up, and it makes life so easy. And we go through, Kezia is my burnt broccoli lover, so we go through this, like a tray of this, so fast, and it's gonna look like a lot of broccoli on that. But when you burn it, no, it's not really burned. It's just like really, really roasted. And
I'm going to break up these.
Please do. Yes. So those are a couple of my tips. Number one, don't overcrowd the pan because it won't get as crispy. If you need to, you can always do 2. You do want to kind of spread it out, and I may not use this whole thing. You want about 3 kind of medium-sized heads if you are buying it, which is definitely more cost-effective in cutting it up. But you do want to kind of spread them out, and those big guys, they're not going to roast as well. And so you do want to break them up. And this,
this is still easier than watching.
Yes. And all the little bits that end up everywhere. So guys, I don't know if you know how burnt broccoli came about, but I am super, super excited to say that now you don't have to mix all of the various seasonings. I don't really know how I came up with it. It has cinnamon in it. It has chili powder. It has allspice. I mean, it has a bunch of random things. Cumin. I think what happened, so I have a friend, one of my best friends, her husband roasts broccoli to a crisp all the time and just, I think, does olive oil and a little lemon juice. But I came home and just kind of pulled out a bunch of my different spices. And I think at one point I put some like different curry powder on it, and I was just kind of trying a bunch of stuff. And that's how the burnt broccoli seasoning came to be. I used to keep it in a jar. And then when this book came out, I was like, we are bottling this along with my taco and my fry and a few other things so that I don't have to measure this out anymore. And so that you don't have to measure it out anymore. The recipe,
if you want to.
Yes, if you want to. So I also pulled Michelle's spices out because we were texting, like over a year ago now, when she was just about to launch hers. And I was like, first of all, I'm not copying you, I promise.
No, and there's room for everybody, and everybody's spice blends are different. I think variety is the spice of life.
I agree. Hey, that was a good.
I know that is
that's a great tagline. But we went back and forth on talking about how excruciating the testing process is to bottle your own seasonings. So I didn't realize that over the years, anytime anybody was making my taco or my fry, or my burnt broccoli, it probably tasted like marginally different in their kitchen than it did in mine.
Yeah.
And that's because all the individual spices that you're buying from different brands or different regions are slightly different in taste or granular size. And so how long did it take you? I'm going to move these back, but these are Michelle's, by the way. You can buy them on her website.
It took a long time, but I kind of looked up because my sister is actually like a spice, like they call her like a spice sommelier at her spice company. So she developed spice blends as her job, and she was like a chef in real life. So it didn't take quite as long because she was the one who said, "Okay, I will help you." Massage this. And I was like, "Okay, awesome."
Yeah, well, so mine, I did 9. I do not have a sister who does that.
No,
She's an
I
amazing real estate agent, but she is not a spice sommelier. And so we did 9, and it took almost a year of back and forth.
Mine's a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And I kept like, why does this taste different than in mine? And I realized there's different levels of chili heat and different.
And then if there's smaller like sizes, then it depends on how people are measuring it. If it's all measured by weight, and even if it is measured by weight, if they're smaller, it compresses. And so if you're measuring it by the tablespoon or teaspoon, it just
so much variance.
Changes.
So much variance. One other thing that I wanted to do, so we're going to add. We're eyeballing it, but 2.5 teaspoons. I also used this avocado oil spray from Primal Kitchen. I love it. Yeah. There's nothing else in it, which sometimes they're mixed with other oils. This is just avocado oil. It just makes life easy.
And I know you don't use one, but that's why, because these don't have like additives in it,
right?
You can spray this on your air fryer rack, and it doesn't accumulate the goo. No, because the propellant is what makes it all gooey and gross.
I didn't know
you
that.
Can't wash it off. And so if it's just pure avocado oil, you don't have to worry about it.
It's a really great tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So burnt broccoli, all the seasonings. The other reason why I wanted to do them for you was if you eat STD, for instance, there's a lot of seasoning blends or even just individual spices that sometimes have anti-caking agents in them.
Well, most have.
Most. So that a lot of times is rice or potato. These are free of that. They're also made.
Or they have like bamboo fiber or things to make it like flow better. Like there's all sorts of, and they call it, and they, even though it's like some sort of like inedible like bamboo fiber, it's called something else. So it sounds like
it's a natural.
It's a fiber. Right? Or something.
So they're also made gluten-free facilities. So anybody who has celiac, they're safe. They're actually made in a fully allergen-friendly facility, Whole30 approved, organic, which means no pesticides and herbicides. So it's an option. You can make them yourself. All the seasoning blends are in Healthy in a Hurry, but I wanted to give.
And I like that it has salt already.
Yeah.
Because I know some people are like, I wish it didn't have salt or low sodium, but I use it in place of salt.
So do I.
And so when people say, oh, it's salty, it should be salty because you're using it in place of salt.
Right.
In the amounts that you would use salt. So it actually is less salt.
Right.
Than if you were using just salt.
Right.
But it just tastes so much better.
I love yours. That's when we grill with yours, we don't have to add any extra salt. And that's the same for us. There's no salt in this. I mean, there's salt.
Yeah.
There's no extra salt.
Extra. Yeah. And of course you can add extra.
Right.
If you want to. But otherwise it's like, it's an easy weeknight dinner saver to have this.
Totally. And you can use them for so many different things. The burnt broccoli started as just burnt broccoli, but I use it on fish and chicken. I use it on all roasted vegetables. It's really good on like sweet potatoes and roasted carrots and tons of different stuff. So we just plop the ghee instead of having to melt it first, which just dirties an extra dish. I usually just plop it in the middle. Because I use the spray and because we sprinkled it, I'm not tossing this. It's fine. Once this ghee melts, we're going to toss it.
No.
Evenly get roasted.
We can bring baby up.
So I'm putting this in our oven. 425. If you have convection, I forget if I'm still, I'm still there. If you have convection, I suggest doing it 400 convection. Convection just, first of all, you don't have to go as high of heat, but also it circulates air. So it's kind of like your air fryer. In that you could put it in the air fryer. Didn't you do it in the air fryer the other day?
I normally do.
Yeah. Do you have
But I don't plop the ghee just because it kind of goes down. But if you have avocado oil spray, or like you just toss it with the oil, then it works perfectly.
That's great. Yeah. Good to know. Good tip.
And so 400, and we cut down the time.
Yes.
I say check it like 10, 15.
Yeah. And honestly, for burnt broccoli, like it's not done until you start smelling it.
Yeah.
Like
no, but smelling
fully
it roasted, not smelling it
burnt. No, right? Even though that's what it's called.
But the roasting smells like it gives you adequate notice before.
Yes. Agreed. All right, so we're gonna move on to this. So I was telling Michelle, I was like, you grew up eating lots of different foods than I did. We both grew up in the Bay Area, but you grew up eating foods from your parents' culture. And I mean, and I grew up here and I'm so thankful for it. And you see it a lot in the book. There's just so many different things that are portrayed in the way that I got to eat growing up. We've been pretty fortunate living here and that I grew up eating Thai food and Indian food and different, I mean, it's just so many different cuisines, but we did live in Colorado for a bit. And it was a regular occurrence to have the Schwan man, the Schwan man,
I
the Schwan truck.
about this and I looked it up and I was like, I have never seen this.
I know.
So it sounds amazing.
Hilariously, I saw a truck driving on 680 a couple weeks ago, but I don't think it was a Bay Area thing growing up because I only had heard of it when we moved there. I called him the Swan man. There were probably women driving the trucks too. It's just what I called. It was Schwan. There's a swan on the side. My mom.
And so it's like pre-made individual or pre-made family style. I can chop.
Do you want to chop?
Yeah.
So is it like
like
out of the fridge? Yeah, mince it. Like I kind of go as small. My kids, you don't have to go as small, but also because these meals were made to try to be cooked quickly. We already have the chicken is diced, onion a little smaller, just because it'll cook faster and you don't have to cook it down as long.
Buy already.
Yes, you could.
Diced.
So
Trader Joe's.
Yep, you could buy already diced. They always have it, and I talk a little bit at the beginning of the book about that. You know, there's always convenience items. They are going to cost a little bit more money, but if you're a busy working
in a mini chopper.
That is one of my best things. I mean, it's one extra dish, but yeah, you can chop all your vegetables.
That can go in the dishwasher.
Super quick and easy.
If it goes in the dishwasher, I don't think of it as an extra.
I agree. I agree. All right. So these ones are funny because I'm always like, what is 800? Is that
Oh yeah, I never know. I always do 5 or 6.
Yeah. So we're doing about a tablespoon of the ghee. If you want to keep this fully dairy.
And so what are we making?
Oh, we're making chicken cordon bleu. I forgot the rest of the story. Thank you, my co-host. So my mom used to buy all the frozen things and chicken cordon bleu. It's such a retro dish.
I love it.
It's, pounded chicken, ham, cheese rolled up. It's breaded. It's fried.
But this is delicious. Like a skillet version, like deconstructed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so dairy, it's free of lactose. Ghee does lactose and casein, so it's free of both of those, but it is technically still dairy. So, but no cream, no cheese. If you want to keep it 100% dairy free, just swap the ghee for avocado oil. We love ghee because it's a good healthy fat, plus it kind of tastes like butter. So, it's great.
I like ghee a lot too.
It's so good.
Do you have a favorite brand?
I love Organic Valley. I love Vital Proteins. Do you? Or whatever I can find at Costco.
Yeah, there's one I really like at Costco that's based Ancient Organics.
Oh.
And I think they're based in Berkeley.
I don't think I've tried that one.
But it smells so good because I think they make like where do you want me to put this?
Yeah, I should have had a trash bowl, but I didn't. Because we're actually not using the cutting board besides are your eyes?
No, I have contacts. That's
is it a shield?
It is. Contacts are normally a shield.
I did not know that. I've tried every trick in the book, like burning a candle.
So you don't have glasses.
No.
Yeah, no.
I need them though, because
That's the one trick. It's like goggles in your eyeballs that protect.
All right. Well, okay. So while this is cooking, I think we're jumping around a lot, but this is a broken down version. We finished that. I think you can leave this here. So a couple other little quick tips. You could use cooked chicken if you want. Browning it in the skillet does help add some depth of flavor to the overall sauce, but you could skip a step and either buy some grilled chicken, or if you have leftover chicken from something, there's an Instant Pot frozen chicken. You literally just plop the entire frozen chicken into the Instant Pot, and that's what I use for
So I noticed it's breast.
Oh yeah, we talk about this a lot. I knew you were going to ask if you can use thighs. Michelle loves thighs.
I know, and I know that you have slowly come over to the dark side.
There's a lot of chicken thighs.
There's a lot of terrible.
No, I like thighs. The only reason why I use breast is because traditionally chicken cordon bleu it's a chicken breast, but you can totally use thighs. My only suggestion would be to maybe drain a little bit of the juice that's going to come out of it when you brown it, because it'll just water down our sauce a little bit too much. But yeah, you can definitely use thighs.
So we're browning
the onions in our ghee. I'm going to add a little pinch of salt and pepper, and then let's start mixing up our sauce.
Ooh, okay.
So what we have in the measuring cup is our chicken broth and bone broth. That's Butcher's. Michelle and my
I was
favorite.
gonna say, do you make your own anymore?
No, not anymore.
I know there's so many
Every once in a
things
while, but
that we had to make
had to.
from scratch, and now you can buy like amazing bone broth
Yeah.
at Costco.
Yeah. So this is the one from Costco. It's Butcher's. Actually, here, I'll show you guys.
It's my favorite.
It's my favorite too, for a few reasons. One, if I'm having any like stomach stuff, onions and garlic sometimes can bother me. And this is one of the few that's ready-made that doesn't have it. So it's just water,
And then
chicken,
no salt.
carrots, no salt either, which is nice because then you can season your dishes to taste. But yeah, this one, we both get it at Costco. Every time
Yeah,
you do a
because
Costco haul.
if you do because I've seen this for $11.99.
Have you really?
Yeah.
And it's at Costco, it's what, like?
It's like $4.99 a bottle. $3 or
Yeah,
$4.99.
yeah.
It's like, and I even asked them because I saw them at some conference. I said, how can you guys get it? Like, how can it be so cheap at Costco? And they said, that's on Costco. They pay us whatever, the price that we tell them, but Costco will mark it down, and they just depend on volume.
Yeah. Well, it's similar to books. Like my books, by the way, will be at Costco. Thank you to so many of you who went out and looked. I think it's going to be another couple weeks, but they will be there. And it's the same thing. They buy at normal cost, but then they mark it down to whatever they want. And it's great for all of you. Okay, so bone broth, cashew butter. So I love to use cashews as my dairy substitute.
Yeah, I think you were the first person that used cashew in paleo. Because I think you used to always be kind of a vegan thing, but like I started doing almond butter.
Oh yeah. I started using it in baking because I used it in my waffles and my breads, mostly because it doesn't have as strong of a flavor.
Yeah.
But then as I started working with it in savory recipes, I realized that it's a really great cream substitute. And one of the biggest reasons why it's great, not only is because it's really nice and creamy, but it actually can thicken sauces because the cashews expand as they hit heat. And so in this one in particular, it makes it like a thick gravy.
Nice.
And so I use it a lot. However, what I used to do was like soak the cashews and blend them and all of that. And for this one, I really wanted to try to make it as easy as possible. So like buying a jar of cashew butter instead of having to soak and blend and all of that. And so I'm doing it that way this time. And we can stir that up in here too if it's troublesome. You can also grab an immersion blender if it's like not blending. And then we're going to kind of eyeball the rest of this. And that's what's also really nice about the recipes in the book. So we're gonna need 2 teaspoons of Dijon. Part of what takes so long to cook a recipe is reading through it, measuring everything out, right? And so one of my biggest tips for the recipes is read them through first. And then once you make it once, a lot of them are really forgiving and that you can eyeball some of the stuff. And you can always add more after, so if you're like, oh, this needs more salt, you can always add a little bit extra. Don't go overboard to start because you can't take it out. But that'll actually save a lot of time, not grabbing a measuring spoon to measure the half teaspoon of garlic powder. And eyeballing salt and pepper and then adding more if you need to. Just not only is it going to save you time for your dishes at the end, right? But it's also going to save you time of like painstakingly looking at the measurement and measuring everything out. If you really don't feel confident doing that after you've made it the first time through and you make it again, you can always measure things out in advance, and that's also just going to help you cook dinner a lot faster. Okay, so we need a tablespoon of nutritional yeast and then a teaspoon and a half of arrowroot just to kind of make the sauce stick to the chicken a little bit better.
If you have a favorite brand of nutritional yeast, a tablespoon, right?
Yeah, tablespoon. There's one on my shop that I found that doesn't have fortified folic acid. It has, and a lot of them do or have folate. So
that's something I don't even notice.
I don't either, but I had a lot of people that had the MTHFR genetic mutation that were asking because they can't have the fortified kind.
Yeah.
So I found one that doesn't. It's on my shop, but I can't remember which one it is. It's not Bragg's, I don't think. So that's it for the sauce. We'll season it again once it goes in. We're gonna do our chicken though before we pour that in. There was one other thing. Oh,
how much chicken?
So 2 pounds. Cut up.
How much does that serve your whole family?
Because it has ham in it, yes, and because I do a vegetable. I know you've got teenage boys, so if you need
it's actually a lot.
It's plenty for us. But if you've got growing boys, like Michelle does, and you need to go a little heavier, you can always just add a little extra chicken too. But so we're doing broccoli with this. This one is just because of the classic flavors that I was trying to mimic. I didn't do a one pot with your vegetables. Most of the dishes in the book, I didn't want you to have to do an extra side dish because I think that that's really frustrating when you're trying to make a quick and easy dinner.
So my whole thing is whenever I don't have like a vegetable in there, side salad.
Yeah, easy.
Always.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. But you could also stir in spinach. You could stir in just steamed broccoli into this if you want, if you just want to do it all in one pot, just an easy way to go. Okay, so I'm going to season our chicken.
I bet spinach would be really tasty.
I think it would
It
be.
would be really fast.
You know, it would almost, without the ham, it would almost taste like a,
Quarantine.
there you go,
Yeah.
quarantine. I have a quarantine pot in the book, funny enough, but thank you. I was like, all right, so we're seasoning chicken. And by the way, if you happen to make your dough for the cookie like I did, I threw it into the oven 325 so that it could be baking slowly. All right, oh, I know, I was gonna tell you guys an SCD sub. So you can leave the arrowroot out, totally fine. It's still gonna thicken really well with that like cashew butter. And not, I didn't buy home, or I didn't make it homemade, sorry. And then nutritional yeast is one of those ones that like, it wasn't studied significantly when SCD was being written, so it's kind of a gray area, but you can leave it out. It gives it a cheesy flavor, but SCD allows cheese. So what I would do would be to grate a little bit of Gruyere into there and use that. It's also gonna thicken it and it's gonna give it the cheesy flavor since you can have cheese on SCD. Okay, so
I love nutritional yeast. Like it looks like fish food.
Oh,
but it's supposed to be really like there's lots of vitamins.
Right.
It's like very nutrient dense.
I did not like it for a while because the first time I used it, I tried like putting a quarter cup into my sauce and it was disgusting. Like absolutely disgusting.
I love it. I mean, I don't know, maybe because, and I think it's so good because it's one of those things that adds lots of umami. But
can you explain to us what umami is actually?
The umami
We
is
use it all
the
the time.
big taste. So besides sweet, sour, salty, and bitter, it's this taste of meatiness or deliciousness.
Okay.
Or savory.
Yeah.
And so there's certain foods that actually impart a lot of umami.
Yes.
Just because of, I think, these amino acids, like glutamate.
Yep.
And I think guanylate is another one. But like once these foods that are high in these amino acids, they just impart that flavor.
Yeah.
But when you combine foods that have umami, instead of it like being better, like just like they're just additives, it like exponentially makes things taste better. So
what are some of your favorites?
Oh, like fish
Fish
sauce,
sauce.
anchovies,
Yep.
tomato paste, dried shiitake mushrooms.
Yes.
And so all of those things that are kind of dried or preserved, it's like concentrated too.
Yeah.
And it's also shown, like, because there's actually an institute in Japan that studies umami.
Yeah.
And so, and it's like high in breast milk.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like babies, like that's why they, it helps them because it's like, it makes them want to drink more breast milk.
Like they have a high taste.
Yeah, and they said even like with elderly people who may not be like they have like low appetite, but they can add a little bit. I mean, I know everyone's all anti-MSG, but essentially that is what is in these foods is glutamate. Like it's just this salt form, this monosodium glutamate is the salt form of something that's naturally occurring in a lot of foods. So
that actually reminds me, for a substitute for SCD for nutritional yeast, I tried it out the other day and I was really surprised that it worked. Ground porcini mushrooms.
Yeah, that's high umami.
Yeah, and it actually is a great sub for this. And then just a splash of either gluten-free soy sauce. Coconut aminos are a little sweet, so it doesn't do as much. Or like a.
But these are all high umami.
So they're great as a sub. So if you can't have nutritional yeast, if you've got a yeast intolerance or anything like that, those are good options to kind of still give something that like somewhat cheesy flavor. And then of course extra salt.
Yeah, but like in this recipe, like there are so many kind of high umami ingredients, and you're doing umami synergy because you got like
we're learning a lot more.
No, but there's like meat is naturally high in umami, and you've had the nutritional yeast. Like whenever you don't know, like if you want to make something tasty fast, you kind of find ingredients that have umami, and a lot of them are kind of classic ingredients that like all these cultures use to make delicious food. Right? Like fish sauces and all sorts of Southeast Asian, dishes like anchovies and tomatoes or an Italian food. Like ham is super high in umami.
Yeah,
so there's like
ham. This is salty. This is a little bit of a salty dish. So if you want to you want to reduce the salt at all,
Okay.
that's totally up to you. Yeah, so cut it into little strips. You can go kind of on a diagonal if you want. And now, yeah, I mean, they can be about this thick, maybe a little thicker. Yeah, that's good. Just so they don't like disappear. So now that our chicken is nice and browned, you're going to have, depending on what pan you use, you will have a bit at the bottom, and that's what the wine is for. However, if you're doing a whole 30, you can just use broth, but we're going to deglaze the bottom of the pan. And I just did a Sauvignon Blanc. You guys know Dry Farm is the one that like doesn't bother my stomach and doesn't give me a headache, which I am always for. So I'm going to pour that in and then just kind of quickly.
It smells really good.
It does smell really
If you
good.
guys are here.
Well, maybe they're making it, depending on what time it is in your kitchen, because I know everybody's tuning in from all over the place. I've seen everybody from everywhere. Okay, so let's go ahead and dump this guy in. So you do need to bring it to a simmer for it to thicken.
I didn't know that about cashews. That's like smart. I love it.
Yeah, so I have a chicken pot pie stew that uses kind of a similar thing. And by the way, if you can't have cashews, I did figure out a coconut cream substitute that thickens, makes it creamy. It does, of course, impart a little bit more of a coconut flavor on it. But there's the sun-dried tomato shrimp from the book uses coconut, not cashew. And you wouldn't even notice that it's there. Actually, my sister made the sun-dried tomato shrimp and did chicken thighs. And she said it was so good. So if you don't want to do shrimp, or your kids won't eat shrimp or something like that, you can swap in chicken for that one too. All right, so let's just let that thicken for us. Let's talk about the topping, and then we'll add in our ham after that. So I'm gonna grab this really quick. All right, so because this was traditionally rolled in breadcrumbs, fried.
Who has time for that?
Who has time for that? But also it's gluten. So I mean, there are gluten-free panko breadcrumbs you could buy in the grocery aisle. I love to.
I haven't tried these before.
Those are so good. We'll open them up afterwards. They're really good. They're crispy plantain crisps from Trader Joe's. But I use my mini food prep and. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. See how fast that thickens?
Yeah, no, and it is thick.
It's like a creamy gravy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn that down because it will go quick. So I put them in my mini food prep processor. You can also, if you want to get your kids involved, keep them in here and just give it a little whack.
Like plantain chips, I use as my coating.
They're so good.
They're so good.
Well, and they're already salted, which is great.
And they're already crispy.
Yeah,
and they stay crispy.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
So I used them in Eat What You Love for the first time, I think, as a fish stick spreading. And so when I was creating this recipe and I wanted there to be some crispiness to the top, because that's part of like when you used to eat it as a kid, that was one of the best parts, is that like buttery, crunchy, crispy topping on it that it was rolled in. So I did this. Another option though, because if you are on Whole30 and you don't want to make a bunch of homemade plantain chips and then grind them up. It's a lot of stuff.
You can use these.
You can't use them on Whole30. So I found these recently.
Oh yeah, these like the pork.
Yeah, I don't know though if this, I think it is actually. I think it's all Whole30. I don't know what autolyzed yeast is. Do you?
I think that's a secret way of adding umami.
Nutritional yeast or something. Well, they have other versions, but
MSG is okay on Whole30 now.
Great, I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. You could just buy some of the, what is it, 805 pork rinds? The
there's lots of, I can't remember the brands, but there are lots of pork rinds brands.
So you can grind pork rinds up or just smash them with a rolling pin. Those actually work really well on top as well. And same for SCD. So pork rinds would be SCD, plantain chips would not. All right, if you want to throw in that ham.
Should I
just move? We're gonna stir it all in, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna check on the broccoli.
It's almost like hand noodles.
Yeah, we're getting there. So I forgot to toss it in the ghee, but that's okay.
Oh, that looks so good.
But it's nice and crispy, so we'll toss it afterwards. I am gonna pull it out.
And we could smell it. I just was like ignoring.
I was ignoring it too. You get distracted. The other night in Walnut Creek that you came to when Jen Hatmaker was with me, apparently the oven was smoking. When we went to go sit down, and somebody went in behind and unplugged it because we were deep in conversation. And I was like, I didn't set a timer, and I started to think about it, but then I just kind of stopped thinking about it. So, all right. So what I do want to do is taste this before we put the topping on, to make sure we're good on salt and all of that. You don't have to taste it.
Yes, you do need to taste your food.
Yes, you do.
Like you can. Yes.
The layering of the seasoning. If you notice, like I seasoned the onions and I also seasoned the chicken, because when you layer seasonings as you're cooking, especially when it's cooking quickly like this, it just adds a lot more depth than trying to just do it at the end.
And all salts are different. And so if you give a measurement for salt and it's a different salt, and people have different salt tolerances. So people need a hot taste.
Very hot. Okay. Yes,
You just burned them.
no, I did. So I'm actually gonna have a little bit more salt, but you're right. Like the pink Himalayan salt is totally different than the Celtic sea salt. Table salt is like completely different. So don't use table salt if it's calling for sea salt, because it just won't taste, it will be way too salty. So then we're just gonna add this on top, and then I throw this under the broiler, but quite honestly, it is so crispy already. You don't really have to. I have you drizzle a little bit more of the ghee on top of the quote unquote breadcrumbs, but I'm actually just gonna spray it with a tiny bit of avocado oil. So as I like taste the sauce, I have a poppy seed chicken that has a similar topping, and Eat What You Love. It's something I also grew up on. Lots of canned cream of mushroom soups in my childhood, which I know you guys feel like you hear me talk about it a lot. But you could totally do that kind of similar sauce with that. So that's it.
It looks really good.
Yeah, we're gonna throw it under the broiler just to make sure it gets nice and crispy, and then we'll have some burnt broccoli. But let's go ahead and start taking questions. I'm gonna check on our cookie.
Oh, 5-minute warning.
It's looking good. Yeah, 5-minute warning to move to questions.
Okay, I didn't even.
We're okay.
That might have been time.
No, it said 10. I saw it. We've got people that are tuning in late. They're like, we gotta go to bed. Hey, that was what I was going to mention actually, and I forgot. If you have to step away when you put your kids to bed, your internet goes out, you are burning your burnt broccoli, whatever it is, you will get a link with the replay of this tomorrow. So you can watch it again if you want to just see something that we did or had a quick question, or if you have to pause and do something else, you can see it. So don't worry if you have to leave us, we'll be sad to see you go, but you can watch the replay. So let's start taking some questions. And then, oh gosh, you know what? I completely forgot to mention our amazing giveaways at the beginning. I have $2,000 worth of prizes that I'm giving away tonight. Michelle, I know, it's very fun. I always try to get all of my favorite brands, and they're always so gracious to donate things to you. I just love to give things away. This is a party celebration after all, celebrating the release of the book. So, I'm gonna have to go and move that. We've got the names, yeah, if you want. I can see, I can't see the names because they're blowing it up. We've got a computer behind my phone, and we've got Zoom on one, and because I want to see people's faces do you get it?
I can't find the cursor. Oh, there it is.
If you scroll, yeah, there we go. All right, so once Michelle thinks, Michelle, you're the best co-host.
Except I can't actually.
Michelle and I had to blow up the font because we were both like squinting. Can we scroll over? There we go.
We don't need to.
No, we don't, but we will have to see people's faces when we do Q&A. So, all right. So we've got a shoe knife. Our winner. This is a shoe. They're my favorite. They've been my favorite for years. I had to save up and buy them one by one and ask for them for Christmas because when I was first starting out, I had like the worst knives. And I'm telling you, you spend so much more time cooking if your knives are not sharp. You don't have to have.
How do I ask the question?
Go ahead and mute yourself. We'll get to the questions in just a sec. Let's do, we'll do our giveaways and then we'll come back to the questions. But any knife, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be super expensive Japanese knife, but keep them sharpened.
Yes.
Because you spend so much more time sharpening. No, we have a guy at the farmer's market who does them for like a couple bucks a knife, and I just take them every few months.
But I do have a sharpener.
I've always been worried I'm going to ruin it if I do.
You know, I used to be worried too.
Yeah,
but I'm not too worried anymore.
Okay, all right, well, good to know. All right, so our shoe knife winner is Monica Peterson out of Connecticut. We've got a $500 Williams-Sonoma gift card. Thank you to Williams-Sonoma, by the way. They helped with they posted me in their stores. I'm coming to Houston and Seattle at the end of the month. $500 gift card from Williams-Sonoma, Donna Parker out of Spring Hill, Tennessee. We've also got from Williams-Sonoma a signature thermoclad stainless steel 10-piece cookware set. Allison Stockton. I always say I feel like Oprah when I get to do this.
I know, it's so exciting. And you get a bundle.
From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We've got an Almond Cow Essentials bundle. I have not bought nut milk for ages now, like almond milk, cashew milk. I make my creamer in it. So that goes to Kelsey Bashaw from Mesa, Arizona. And hey, just so you all know, when I'm calling out your names, whether you're viewing right now or you're watching this later, we will be reaching out to you via email. So there's nothing you have to do. I just wanted to celebrate everybody who's winning while we're alive. Our friends at Hugh Kitchen, $50 gift card, $60 worth of chocolate.
No, it's 50 and
$50 gift card and $60 worth of chocolate.
Wow.
You know, Hugh's my favorite chocolate, sweetened with coconut sugar. We love them. I was so sad to see their Manhattan restaurant close. I was like, where do I eat? Joanne Van Leek from Peachtree Corners, Georgia. Wow, we've got people from everywhere. I love it. Stasher Bags starter kit. I love Stasher Bag, eco-friendly way to save and preserve food in your fridge and freezer. Our winner there is Anita Cruchaya. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. How would you say it?
Anita C.
Anita C. From Washington. Vital Farms is giving away $120 worth of ghee and eggs, and our winner there is Meadow Bell out of Arcata, California. And then my friends at Butcher Box, that's actually the chicken we used tonight. Oh yeah, put our Zoom back up. Is giving you a box of grass-fed, grass-finished organic meats, and our winner there is Tammy. But I just lost her where you're from, Tammy, but we'll email you. All right, sorry. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. So let's see now if we can move into the Q&A portion. I'm sorry, we're gonna go back and just make sure that there's no questions here. I'm gonna shrink that ever so slightly.
Oh,
Okay.
there's another prize.
Oh, there's another prize?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right, my gift box. This is fun. Okay, sorry. All right. So I have a gift box of a signed copy of my book, Another Shoe Knife, but it actually has Healthy in a Hurry etched onto it.
Oh, I have one.
Yes, you got one. And then a bundle of my new spices. And so our winner there is Angela out of Sammamish, Washington. Okay. All right. We'll email you. So if I didn't get your name correct, don't worry. We've got you. We've got your email. Okay. What are I'm going to let you answer this, but what are your top 3 pantry staples?
My top 3 pantry staples, because I cook a lot of Asian stuff.
Yes.
So besides my spice blend,
yes,
because that's probably the easiest.
Yes.
I love coconut aminos, fish sauce.
Yep. I feel like I'm going to have the same answer. Tomato paste would be my favorite, I think.
Tomato paste is good. I love dried shiitake mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
So that would probably be that.
Do you rehydrate them always, or do you sometimes blend them and grind them? I mean, that's where you're
sometimes I blend them or grind them. Yeah. Or my sister showed me that you can microplane, like the fried shiitake, or you can buy shiitake powder.
Okay.
But that is something you buy.
Isn't it?
Well, you buy it at a Korean market.
Oh.
And I think it's pulverized kind of the bad shiitake, like the ugly and not as presentable. So
it's great.
It works, yeah.
I think I agree. Fish sauce and coconut aminos I use a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably avocado oil.
Oh yeah.
And,
so cooking oil.
Yeah, cooking oil. I'm trying to think what's in my pantry, but I mean, my pantry is also just loaded with primal.
But if it is 3 things on a desert island, I would say spice blends.
Yeah, right, because you can season all the fish that you spear.
Yeah, yes.
And cook over the fire. Okay, I would love to know what is Danielle's favorite recipe from the book and any tips for cooking it from Amy. I need to turn off this oven really quick because it is simmering. I'm gonna leave that just for a minute. My favorite recipe from the book and any tips for cooking it.
Okay, you want me to look at? It's hard.
It's so hard to remember.
And it's actually, I think, a mean thing to ask a author because it's really hard. I think every recipe, if you didn't love it, it wouldn't be in
It's
there.
true. We probably cut like 50 recipes from the book. It's almost like asking you to pick your favorite kid. You know what? Go to the visual index in the back because that always like jogs my memory. I mean, this one honestly is one of my favorites. That's why we picked it, just because it's homey and it is just something that I love. The pineapple whip in the dessert section. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? This is one that I make over and over again. So I'm going to pick this one, the Thai basil beef.
On page 189.
189. It's just really simple. My kids love it. I don't put the peppers on for them, but they love it and they eat it over rice. I eat it over cauliflower rice. You can also
coconut aminos and fish
see,
sauce.
See, a little bit of coconut sugar. It's got kind of like a citrusy sweet sauce on it. And you can do ground chicken, you can do ground turkey. It's just really versatile, and you can make it spicy if you want. So yeah, I would say that's one that I love and go back to over and over again. And tips in terms of cooking it, I love to get the meat kind of crispy. So high heat, cast iron's amazing, and making sure that you don't overcrowd. So use a little bit bigger of a skillet. At the beginning of every chapter, I kind of give you the size of the things that I'm using, whether it's a sheet pan or the size of the skillet. And if you don't have that, or you're working in a little bit of a smaller kitchen, you can totally modify and go to smaller and do like 2 sheet pans or, things like that. But I really wanted to try to minimize dishes in this book. So that's always the goal. So if that means using a huge sheet pan that can fit in your oven as opposed to having to do 2, then that's always my goal.
So Brianna asks, what is your favorite recipe when hosting another family for dinner?
Oh, can I say one that's not in this book? Because I haven't started using this one enough yet. So
and I almost feel like these totally are company worthy dishes.
100%. I think you could, the goal with this, and what I've been really excited to hear, is that even if you don't have to eat grain for your paleo all the time, that these are just good dinners that are healthy. And that was really my goal for every recipe in here, was that it could appeal to anybody. So I don't feel like I
make this one.
You could make this one. I think the spaghetti squash with bacon, ranch, and chicken is going to be a crowd pleaser no matter what. And if you want to do some brown rice noodles for your company to make an actual pasta out of that, that's a great one. What I was going to say is this, 3 years, like your books take 5 years-ish that you start working on them. It's a long time.
They take long.
They take a long time. So this one took 3 years. And when you're going through the editing of it, you're not really making the recipes once I tested them each like 5 or 6 times, maybe a lot more. We've had other people test them, and then you photograph them. And so by the time the book comes out, now I'm actually ready to start cooking from it again. I kind of like, you read it all over and over and over again, and you're just like,
what I think is great about this book is, like, I think when you're hosting people, you shouldn't feel like you have to kill yourself.
Yeah, agreed.
To like put dinner on the table for company.
Yes.
Like it should be something that is delicious and fast, and then you can enjoy your company.
Yes.
And you don't have a million dishes.
Yes. And that's like, even most of these, I don't tell you to plate it and put it on a platter. It's like you plop.
I'm going to move it so we can
you plop that sheet pan down, you plop that skillet down, you put a big spoon in it, put some share plates out, and let people dish it up. Because that's the way that real life is. So I would say those ones. The bruschetta chicken also is a really good one for like a crowd pleaser, and you could serve some potatoes or, pasta on the side. That's kind of what I say. If you've got people coming over that don't have to eat grain and dairy free, serve them a grain and dairy free entree. But if you want, make something on the side, just to make them feel like they've got, I think they're going to be plenty satisfied, even if you don't do it, but it is an option. Really quick, the one that I make the most frequently though is I have a tri-tip in celebrations with grilled vegetables, and it has a chimichurri sauce. It is the thing that I make every time we have guests over, because I just know that everybody will love it, no matter how they eat. So that's the one that I do the most. Okay, I'm gonna have a piece of burnt broccoli really quick. All right, what's next?
So Ashley Gorham says, hi, we all really enjoyed both your guys' recipes over here. One question, can you substitute equal part ground cashews in place of cashew butter? So that I'm going to turn to you. You are the cashew queen.
Yeah. So cashew butter, this needs just a little more, and then I'm going to toss it. Cashew butter is just cashews. They are not soaked, and they're ground just like almond butter, just like peanut butter. So if you do the ground cashews, it's just going to be too gritty. So what I would suggest you could do is weigh it, make sure that it weighs same amount, but you're going to need to blend it with your broth. But yes, you can if you want. Same thing. You could do the same if you weigh out what the third cup of cashew butter is on a scale, and you have whole cashews, and you weigh the same amount as what the butter weighs. Yeah, you could blend it in your broth. I just didn't want you guys to have to use a blender. Like, the goal of this was to minimize the dishes. But if that's what you have on hand, or that's what you can find more affordably, totally an option. Yeah.
Here's a good one. This has been crazy. What is your go-to meal to make when you get home late from work or after school activity and don't feel like cooking and just want to go to a drive-thru?
Oh yeah.
Something super easy and comforting that is fast put together.
Yeah, so a lot of these recipes are fast put together. But honestly, I think if I really don't want to do something, either I pull something from the freezer chapter that I already have in the freezer, or I just take 2 of my spice blends and I roast some veggies and I put some chicken or fish on the grill and use, and just think that is the fastest things. So either freezer stash or just, finding some protein and veggies and making it really, really, really simple. Kezia's going to want all of this when she gets home. So we'll save her a little bit.
Rachel R says, what if you're allergic to cashews? Any good substitute?
Yep. So there's a whole page in the front, Rachel, that gives you a good cashew substitute for all the kind of cashew creaminess, and it uses coconut milk. It thickens it, adds a little bit of lemon juice, I think, and a little bit of salt just to kind of give it the same flavor. Oh, same question kind of from Kristen. So so take a look. There's a whole like sidebar at the front of the book that talks about it, and then it's mentioned in some of the tidbits throughout the recipes that use the cashews. So there are substitutes for those who have nut allergies. And we've got
people want to know, specifically Jessica, what recipe is the biggest winner with your kids? Well, we know Kezia loves it.
She does. She loves that. The sweet and sour pork, probably just because they pick around the bell peppers, but they love the sweet sauce. It's kind of tangy. It's actually Whole30 compliant. It's not sweetened with any like added sugar. They love that. They love the tender pineapple, the pork, and I've done chicken too with that one, and even shrimp. They love both of those.
Maria wants to, do your recipes give options for both oven types, convection and regular?
No, so I don't ever write recipes for convection because I've found over the years that not everybody has one, or they don't want to use it. And so I always write them for regular. So just go with the standard kind of, you can check, your oven settings online or in, the user's manual, and you can do convection. You'll just need to lower the temp a bit. And like Michelle said, like lower the amount of time. Yeah. But I use convection personally a lot because it speeds things up so quick. I mean, I did the burnt broccoli on convection because it gets it nice and crispy. It makes it fast. You really can shave 10 to 12 minutes off of some dinners if you use it. So, but just be careful because it does burn things quickly.
So this is a good one. Jessica B wants to know, can the chicken cordon bleu be made in the Instant Pot?
And you are the Instant Pot master. So I'm like, what would you say?
I would say no. Because there's certain things that I don't think should be cooked in the Instant Pot.
I agree.
Even though people want everything. Like this was so fast on the stove top. And if it's chicken breast, you don't want it overcooked. You don't want the sauce to get scorched.
Yeah.
So I would say no.
Yeah. So you could do it in the Instant Pot on the saute function.
But I don't think it would save you that much time.
It wouldn't. It actually almost doesn't. It takes almost more time. The saute is just not as high of heat when you do it on your stovetop. But if you're in, let's say, a dorm room and you don't have a stove, it would work. I just would not do actual like the pressure cooking. Yeah. But it's an option. It's an option. All right. So I'm hoping that we can do some of the Zoom questions. I am wondering if there's some.
Oh, there's like a bunch of questions here.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Great. It looks like we're pulling. It looks like we're pulling from YouTube. That's what that looks like. So that's great. Okay. What? So Shadya is asking what the brand of the mini food processor was. So funny enough, it was my first food processor that I had. And then I got the big one and I was like, oh, I don't need this anymore. And so I got rid of it.
It's actually useful.
I just bought another one and they're like 20 something bucks. This is Cuisinart. I love to make my pesto in it. I love to do small batches of things like that topping. Sauces, there's a red pepper sauce that is in the book that I love to have on hand. And it's so much easier. Like you said, dishwasher safe, doesn't take up as much space as your big guy. So I went and bought one on Amazon.
And you can chop up a bunch of onions or garlic or ginger and freeze them.
Yeah. Your ranch dressing, my ranch dressing. Throw your parsley, dill, and chives in there. Chop those up. It does save you a lot of time. It's worth it. And it's so little. It's just, I actually keep it inside of my slow cooker in my cabinet just because it's so small. Okay. Did I skip one?
Someone says I can't have fish. Maura says I can't have fish or seafood. What is a good fish sauce substitute? Well, in my book, I actually have a no fish sauce.
Yeah, you do. That's what I was going to say.
That is made with umami, like stuff that's high in umami, and then stuff that kind of gives you kind of that seafood flavor. So there's dulse.
What is in it? Yeah.
Shiitake mushrooms, some coconut aminos, but it's also vegan. So for a lot of people who
don't have.
But okay, I truly feel like the reason why you shouldn't have fish sauce is because you decide you're vegan or you're allergic. Yeah. But if you're just like, I don't want to, I feel like you should put on your big girl or big boy pants.
It's true. The smell at first freaks people out. But like if you love any sort of Thai or Vietnamese. I mean, that flavor is so essential, but that's good to know that you have, I remember seeing that and I was like, this is fascinating that you have.
I know, I did it because there are many people just like more, and I understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like we are going to call on Brianna Cunningham. You're raising your hand in the chat, so hopefully we get to say hi to you and see you. Go ahead and ask your question. Make sure that when you come on, Brianna, that you come off of mute.
Can I start?
Yeah, yeah, you can. I hope the chicken's all the way cooked too. Oh, hi, Brianna. Is it Brianna or Brianna?
Brianna.
Brianna, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hi, Michelle. I love all of your cookbooks, Danielle. I've been looking forward to this one for so long. I have 3 young kids, so I'm very excited for quick meals.
Thank you.
My question was, I actually took dinner to a friend tonight who just had a baby, and I took your poppy seed chicken from Eat What You Love because we have that on rotation regularly. But I was wondering if you had any meals from this book or really from any of the books that is like a go-to take them a meal train type situation. Yes.
I can think of a couple right off the bat. So is the chicken cooked? Or you
broccoli? Okay,
cut the chicken first just to make sure.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think it is. I just wasn't fully paying attention. So yes. Okay. So there's a pepperoni pizza, like pasta bake. There's actually instructions. It's in the freezer chapter. I don't know exactly what page, but it's in the freezer chapter, and there's a tip in there to make 2. So as a new mom, one thing that I would love is for somebody to bring me one that was ready to eat, that I didn't even have to like bake, or maybe it was warm and I just rewarmed it. And then one that I could throw in the freezer so that I could pull it out when, like chaos ensues, which it does as a new mom. So that would be one that I think would be really great. And then anything else in the freezer chapter, there's a pork ragu. Similarly, you could like make 2, because one of the things that I kind of talk about in the freezer chapter, and really in a lot of the front matter of the book, is that if you're going to dirty dishes to chop something, like, it's not that much harder to grab 2 of the same thing, double it up, put one in the freezer, and have it for another meal. And similarly, when your brain is in that shopping mode, to just get 2 of everything is so much easier than like planning it twice and shopping twice. And so the freezer chapter would be a great one. You could do the pork ragu, you could put it in the Instant Pot or the slow cooker, cook it and take it to them cooked, but also give them one of the freezer bags of it so that they could pull it out and do it themselves. And I talk a little bit about there. Michelle and I both love painter's tape. It's like our labeling. I don't have a label maker. A little painter's tape. You could give like really brief instructions for how they could cook it. And then of course you could like give them a copy of the book as a gift as well. So that they knew how to make it. But those 2 are great.
Plus the spice blend.
Yes, plus the spice. Because if they just need to like make a piece of chicken or fish and some veggies one night, it's such an easy spice, like just flavorful.
I think that freezer chapter is genius, because like when people get stuff, like I'm sure this new mom is probably getting a ton of things, and she could just stick that right in the freezer, and it's something that will reheat and taste really good.
Yeah, and all the recipes are written so that you're not really cooking it all the way through. It's like, here's how to freeze it in advance. So I think those would be great. Thank you so much for your question. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right. It looks like we have time to call on one more. Amy Linberry. Gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I'm totally butchering your names. Amy, you were raising your hand. Oh, hi, Amy.
Hi. I just want to say hi. I saw you in Raleigh a few years ago for Eat What You Love tour. Loved it. I'm super excited for this book because I'm single, so I'm cooking for one and need stuff quick. Michelle, I've had some of your stuff too, and it's amazing. I guess my question is, I don't like mushrooms. I just don't like the consistency, just can't do it. Some of the recipes have mushrooms in it. Is there a way to sub those out or use something different?
Yeah. So first of all, if you're cooking for one, all of these recipes are so easily halved or quartered, but I suggest, again, similar, like just make it all, freeze it in individual portions. I love stasher bags. I love glass containers. And then you can just pull them out. All of them are very freezer friendly. And for most of the recipes that have mushrooms in them, I'm trying to think which ones, like there's one that I can think of, the Philly cheesesteak skillet, totally just pull them out.
Yeah.
I love mushrooms, like the texture, but they don't add, I mean, besides like a shiitake or something, they don't add that much flavor.
You can.
You could leave it out. I think any vegetable would be fine, but I think like an eggplant could be a nice sub just because of kind of that like squishiness of the texture. But most of them are really easily left out. I mean, my cream of mushroom soup, I wouldn't leave them out, but everything else you totally could. And actually the cream of mushroom soup, it's not in this book, sorry. You can do that with like cream of asparagus and cream of artichoke, any of the other things. So yes, you can mostly just take them on out.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And
Yeah,
thank you for another book. I'm so excited to try some of the recipes.
Thank you. I'm so excited to put it out into the world. All right. Okay, guys, that's it. We are coming to an end. I know it's getting late there for some of you. So thank you. I know, right? It went quick. I told them, I was like, this is going to go fast.
Yeah.
Thank you to the Penguin Random House and the 10 Speed team and the Well Enough team for putting this together. We really just wanted to try to do something to celebrate with everybody everywhere. And so I'm thankful for technology in that way. And for Michelle for
and everyone should buy this book.
Well,
it will
they should
change
have a
your
copy,
life.
but
But extra copies.
yes, we'll give it
This
to a
is
friend.
teaching.
Thank you for coming. You're such a good friend.
Thank you for feeding me.
Michelle has always been just the best, just supporter, and that's what I love about our whole like food community is we just all want to cheer each other on, and it's so nice to have. So thank you to everybody for grabbing a copy of the book. Again, if you don't have a copy and you're just like sitting in your friend's kitchen who asked you to come and watch this, Target, Barnes & Noble, your local independent, obviously Amazon, Costco will have them just in time for holiday gifting. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys for joining.